Hi, friend. Welcome back to the Like Us podcast. I'm your host, Erin. Through these bonus episode play-by-plays of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, we're trying to find out, are the Real Housewives like us? Well, before we get into the episode, let's kick off with this week's Hot Mic Confessional, which is I'm obsessed with the TV show Paradise on Hulu. They're not paying me to say this. It's just honestly that good of a show. And if you have not been watching it, this is the time to lock the in. Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss at you. But I'm just saying, the show is so good. So I watched season 1 a year ago when I was getting my hair braided. Now, it came out last January, but I was getting my hair braided for the wedding last March. And the woman who was braiding my hair was like, we should watch this show, Paradise. It's so good. I've already seen it 4 times. Like, let's watch it together. And if you know anything about like Black women getting their hair braided, is that it could take some time. And so I literally binge watched all 8 episodes during the duration of that hair appointment. And then I came home and I was like, that show was so good. And I've been patiently waiting for season 2 and it finally dropped. It's weekly episodes and season 2 is just as good. Shailene Woodley has a guest role for a few episodes. And yeah, I don't want to say any more. Usually this is not my style of show that I like, but there's something about it that's so good. And I'm going to chalk it up to that it's Sterling K. Brown, who can do no wrong. So do yourself a favor if you're looking for a new scripted television show, tune into Paradise. It's awesome. Now let's get into episode 13 of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Now, I feel like right off the bat, I have to say Erika Jayne was absolutely hilarious this episode. Everything she said in her confessionals was just cracking me up, and we'll get into it. But even though Erika might not have the points on the board, and you'll see at the end of the episode who does get points on the board, I will say that Erika won the most entertaining award for this week's episode. She just was the perfect comic relief all along the way, as well as Jennifer Tilly. I feel like Erika and Jennifer Tilly just know how to bring some levity in such different ways on this show, but they give a lot, and I'm glad we have them. Honestly, Erika with her dry pan humor, it's so necessary to keep things afloat. Okay, so the episode starts, and Rachel, Dorit, and Erika are catching up with the rest of the group at the Italian villa, which is amazing and ridiculous. And Dorit is already like pulling out her Italian. She's speaking it in the car. She's speaking it in her confessional. They said that she was speaking it to the neighbors. And unpopular opinion, I actually enjoy when Dorit is speaking her multitude of languages that she understands. I love to see Dorit speak Italian or Spanish, or I think she also speaks Hebrew. I think it's cool that she is able to be such a linguistic yappy queen. Would she be someone who talks so much if she couldn't also yap in other languages? I love that for her. It reminds me I need to like dust off my Rosetta Stone and get to practicing so that I could be like Dorit. I'm supposed to go to Europe this summer, and I'm like, I need to be practicing my Spanish. I need to be practicing my Italian. Dorit should do a deal with one of these language learning apps where Dorit teaches you a language. Like, I would take an Italian course taught by Dorit Kemsley. They need to get on that. Call up who's her managers and agents. They need to be working out that deal because I'm here for it. Oh, by the way, Dorit announced today, it's Friday. I record these on Fridays. Dorit announced today that her book, Unburdened, will be coming out on June 2nd. And I'm really excited. I read Erika Jayne's book. I read Lisa Rinna's book. And I feel like I need to finish my favorite cancer trifecta and read Dorit's book. So I can't wait till it comes out. I hope I'm on that PR list. I would love to read it early. I feel like it's going to be good because Dorit's kind of, as much as we know that she talks a lot, she actually is pretty much, I would consider Dorit a little bit of an enigma, not wrapped in a riddle and cash like Erika, but definitely an enigma because I feel like Dorit only tells us as much as we want to know about her. And she talks a lot, but she doesn't actually really dive deep into who she is and what her story is. I don't think we've ever known that about Dorit across the whole time she's been on the show. So I would actually love to know more about Dorit, and I'm excited to read her book. Unsponsored. Okay, so anyways, Dorit speaking her Italian. They all freak out about how nice the villa is. And it's hilarious because when they get to Dorit's room, she finds out she has a sauna in the room and she has her like glass of rosé and she like lays on the floor with the glass of rosé. And Erika is like, Dorit's doing the most. She like walks away. But I loved it. Her being on the floor being like, I can't. And she's like saying I can't in Italian. It's all very dramatic and honestly good TV. Sometimes you gotta ham it up. And I think Dorit knows when to ham it up. They all start getting ready for dinner. And as they get ready for dinner, everyone comes out. It turns into like, their little fashion show moments. Sutton comes down. She's talking to Bose at first. Kyle comes down. Kyle's not ready yet. And then they start teasing Sutton about her rooming with Amanda, they're like, why are you being a psycho and rooming with Amanda? You barely like her. Like literally 2 weeks ago, you guys had a confrontation. Why are you rooming together? And Kyle jokes like, Amanda should watch her drinks around you. Everyone's like, what is Sutton's deal? And I kind of understand where Sutton is coming from. Like, I think she did realize that maybe Amanda didn't have many friends and they had been filming for quite some time at that point. And so she's maybe thinking that she could be Amanda's friend. I also think that Sutton secretly really missed Garcelle and having someone to talk shit about everything with, but Amanda's not with that. Like, Amanda's not the type of person that like talks a lot of shit because she's a little emotionally sterile and aloof. And so Sutton didn't have someone that was like a shit-talking buddy. And so she wanted to take Amanda under her wing and hopefully Amanda would get there because Sutton actually hates everybody, but she has to be chummy with them now because her friend left, because her friend stopped being her friend, because Sutton makes everything about Sutton, allegedly, per Jennifer Tilly. And so this is where the problem really lies, right? So Sutton was hoping Amanda would be that for her, and it doesn't look like that ends up happening. But what does happen is Bose and Kyle make fun of Sutton because they're like, you're being a weirdo for rooming with someone that you don't even like that much. And Sutton tries to act like it was a normal thing to do. Everyone goes back upstairs, and now we get the people who are really ready for dinner. And Rachel and Amanda are twins. You could just tell right away that Rachel's trying to be cool about it. Like, she's like, oh, yeah, it's Dolce & Gabbana. Like, oh, we're matching, you know? And by the way, like, Amanda's fit, dare I say it, was kind of better than Rachel's, in my opinion. Like, I actually liked what Amanda was wearing more than I liked what Rachel was wearing, although Rachel had the jewelry that did look better. And what I love is as Rachel sits down, she's like, oh, well, you know, like, I don't really pack with any strategy, which is like, if you didn't know, that's code for her implying that her style is natural and that Amanda's being a tryhard. And that is the worst thing you can do in Beverly Hills, is to be perceived as trying too hard. Rachel's like, oh, this whole thing? Amanda, you probably just bought that yesterday, bitch. Rachel's saying that she packs with no strategy. I'm going to give her a like us point for that because I also don't really pack with a lot of strategy. I'm just like, oh, I like these things and I hope that they make sense when I go on a trip. And that's how you end up overpacking, kids. You end up overpacking when you don't pack with strategy, but you end up having everything you want. So who's winning? Sutton comes downstairs, and Sutton's outfit is so cute. But we find out that this is something that she packed in her carry-on because her bags haven't arrived. And I feel like this is Sutton being a smarty pants because packing an outfit in your carry-on is so smart, prepared queen. Just like how Rachel said she doesn't pack with the strategy, I also like to throw in a piece of article of clothing in my carry-on just in case if I can fit it, because I do think you just never know where you're going to end up. And so like having like a little bit of jewelry, a little bit of perfume, something to freshen up with, like a change of undies and a new fit, that is the smart thing to carry in your carry-on. And you do have to try to make that work. It should be something that's light. I feel like Sutton packed the perfect carry-on outfit, like a white button-down and a pair of jeans. She looked so chic, and that necklace was so blingy. And she does get a like us point for this because I love a prepared queen. That's who I am. And if I'm not, I aspire to be. You know what I mean? Bose comes down, and it's clear that when Bose comes out, everyone loves Bose. Like, Kathy's smiling big, Rachel's smiling big. I just thought it was really sweet. Like, they just gave Bose the biggest smile when she enters the room. Erica comes down, and we find out that Dorit is late again. And at this point, I'm starting to think that production's kind of like messing with Dorit because we find out in the after show that Dorit's bags got delivered to Kathy's room. And so she only got her bags 10 minutes before they were supposed to meet and everyone else had time. And then Sutton tried to be like, well, my bags are in another country. But it's like, yeah, but she knew that her bags weren't coming. So she could just get ready with what she had. Whereas like Dorit had nothing. And so I don't know. I just feel like production's kind of messing with Dorit and kind of messing with the timeline a little bit. Like, I do think she's always late. But then I also started thinking, I'm like, if you put all of the late housewives in a room, who's showing up the most on time? And is it like Lisa Barlow from Salt Lake City, Lisa Hochstein from Miami, Dorit, Shannon Bedore? Who else is late? Portia is late sometimes. They said Candy. Someone on Threads told me that Candy is late sometimes. I don't recall Candy being someone who runs late. I do think that there's a few little ladies who like to be tardy for the party, and Dorit is one of them. But I don't know. I think some of it is like contrived. That's just me. That's my opinion. So they finally get downstairs, and there's a surprise. And the surprise is that there's going to be a private show in the theater. And I don't know if I said this last week. I don't recall. It was definitely in my notes, but I don't know if I actually ended up recording it. That the thing I love about this villa is that there is a theater, but the theater's not like we're going to watch movies in my theater. It's like there's going to be performances in the theater. And I swear Erica verbatim said exactly what I was thinking when I saw the theater last week, like verbatim. And I'm like, oh, we're on the same wavelength, sis. Because what do you mean there's a theater for performances in the villa? Like, it's not like little movies. It's like, we're going to watch a show. I love that. Bose throws shade. She's like, if people don't appreciate that we're watching a show, then they don't have any culture. And then the editors are being shady, and we see Amanda on her phone and Sutton kind of falling asleep. I think it's so sweet that like Jennifer Tilly is like, I'm going to cry, and Erica's loving it. And here's the thing. I feel like there's been a big hot topic about opera and ballet. Opera and ballet probably have the biggest search engine optimization words than they've ever had in years and years and years and years. And it's all because Timothée Chalamet was kind of talking crap about the opera and the ballet. And I know a lot of people feel a lot of different ways. I just think that like as an artist, you probably shouldn't just be like yapping about how some artists are underappreciated in a way. And like Cheryl Lee Ralph from Abbott Elementary has the best quote about it. She's on the red carpet. Someone asks her, and she said, I think he was just mad at his mama that day. She said he was just mad at his sister. He was just mad at his aunties because I know that he has loved a ballerina in his life. And like, that's so funny because I think that's right. I think that's right. Cheryl Lee Ralph, who, by the way, anytime I see her talking about something on social media, like every time she pops up on my timeline, she's always saying something that's so wise and so funny all at the same time. And I hope that my evolution looks like becoming Cheryl Lee Ralph in my older years. Like, ugh, what an icon. So after the show, Amanda goes up to Dorit and asks to have a conversation. And Dorit kind of puts it off and says, okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And then Dorit comes back from the bathroom and she still doesn't want to have a conversation with Amanda. And I'm just going to say, I kind of feel like it was Dorit's time of the month on this like episode. Like I feel like something about like her wanting to have a purse, wearing this outfit, the bathroom, her not being in the best mood. Like to me, it was giving, I just started my period when we got here. And so I am not wanting to be in the mood to deal with any of this. Like, that's what it was giving. Also, she was like, we could talk, Amanda, but like, also we're going to eat dinner and I want to eat. And like, by the way, night one in Italy, you know that food was gonna be so good. Of course she wanted to eat. Dorit loves Italy. So I don't blame her for not wanting to deal with Amanda's bullshit. A lot of people thought that this was her being disrespectful. And I have been on the other side of like when you're trying to talk to a colleague or like a coworker and they don't give you the time of day and it is rude and it doesn't land well. But I do feel like Amanda's beef with Dorit happened in such a group setting. And I said this episodes and episodes ago that like, I feel like from Dorit's perspective, she's like, this was a public confrontation. It should stay in public. And I like Dorit's commitment to being like, I'm not doing a one-on-one scene with Amanda, period. She's just like not doing it. And I respect it. She's not interested. She's not interested. So they get to dinner, and the first half of dinner, I'm going to be honest, I thought it was a little bit boring. Like they're kind of about to get into the conversation. We see all of the amazing food they're eating. And at that moment, I was like, Dorit was right for not wanting to be late for dinner because it did look good. It looked so good. And Dorit is still kind of dodging Amanda. And then they start rehashing the argument for a third time. At this point, I hope we never have to hear this argument again. I'm so over it because Amanda's being willfully obtuse and Dorit's being hard-headed. And I felt like what was interesting is most of the table actually had Dorit's back in this. And Kyle's kind of playing the devil's advocate. And I feel like she's doing it in a very annoying way. And she's only playing devil's advocate because she's kind of using Amanda to poke at Dorit. And everyone knows that that's what's happening. But it's still happening anyways. And Amanda doesn't know that she's being used to poke Dorit. But also Amanda won't like own up that. Well, she finally does. She says, yeah, like this is my opinion and it's rooted in truth, whatever. But I think she doesn't understand that Dorit's like, yeah, but you don't know me to have that opinion and you're basing it off of something that you heard someone else say, not something that has been a conversation for you and I to say. And I think also the thing that's not being said, or at least not being shown, is that it comes across as really calculating that Amanda then had that moment where she's like, oh, I was praying for you, I thought of you. And then the next time she hears something negative, she's using that as an opportunity to be like, oh, Dorit isn't handling her business appropriately. Like, I also wouldn't appreciate that, but I do think Dorit's kind of dragging it out because she doesn't feel like having beef with anyone else. But also, it's the only thing that's happening on the show right now. It is quite truly the only conflict. The only conflict is Dorit and the new girl. And usually when, like, I just am thinking, like, imagine Amanda being on Orange County. Like, imagine Tamra Judge having to talk to Amanda Francis. Like, imagine. Like that, she wouldn't be able to part of me watching this show, I'm like, I wish Heather Dubrow was here. Like, I wish we had, like, one other housewife franchise like Lisa Barlow. Like, I just wish we had like one other Housewives franchise to just pop in a guest role. Honestly, I wish Faye Resnick would show. Like, we just need someone to pop in as a guest role and just kind of like give us a little bit of grounding in what is actually happening and going on. And I think that that's part of what we're missing this season is Natalie doesn't really do it. She does chime in at this dinner by telling Amanda, like, you're not her therapist, so it's not your business, which I don't even know if that was the right thing to say, but at least she said something. But I do feel like usually at this point of the show, I mean, I guess Denise Richards popped in, but it was only with Erica and Sutton. And I think part of the problem is that we haven't seen Amanda with a more vibrant housewife group to ask these types of questions. And we also haven't seen that with Dorit. And, you know, it's because Camille Grammer's never coming back because the last time Dorit cussed Camille out. So it's like, who can they call? And like Brandi Glanville's going through her stuff. It's like, the reserves, the well is run dry in Beverly Hills. You know what I mean? Like Lisa Vanderpump's not coming back. You know, Adrienne Maloof is probably never coming back. Denise Richards did come back, but those were definitely clearly on her terms and for her own agenda. Crystal, they don't want Crystal back. Garcelle, Garcelle's never coming back. You know, Lisa Rinna, never coming back. Kim Richards, never coming back. Eileen Davidson wouldn't make sense in this situation. You know, Yolanda Hadid, she's never coming back to this show. Like, I feel like part of the problem with Beverly Hills is like, when the well is run dry, who do you pick up the phone to call to shake up the group, to get everybody to behave in a different way? You know what I mean? Sorry, that ran on longer than I thought, but I do feel like there's a little bit of confrontation missing sometimes on this show. And I think maybe there's too much comedy relief and not enough like bulldozers, adding a lot of drama and driving the plot. Now, what I do think is funny is Amanda does start being a little confrontational at this dinner. And she's like, well, Dorit, why did you bring up the Colt? And I'm like, thank God, like that there's some conflict. And something that's so funny is Kathy, who never chimes in. Kathy's like, if someone was bugging me, I'm looking them up too. If I was annoyed with somebody, I'd do a deep dive. And I'm like, same. Like, I get it. And for that reason, Kathy does get a +1 because I do think that when people are annoying, you do got to do a little deep dive. Like, what's going on in this person's life? What's happening? Sometimes you do have to Google somebody. I feel like in this moment at this dinner, Amanda then starts telling the story of the Colt. And what is interesting about this is that she starts referring to herself in the third person when she's telling her Colt story. And to me, I'm not a professional, but I read that as a traumatic response for sure. And especially because she gave like no information. Like she's sharing about the Colt, but she talks to her about herself in third person. And then she kind of is parsing it out. And the way she told the story to Erica was a lot more interesting because at least she like lays the scene. And I think in her attempt to make the story concise, she actually ended up stripping herself from the opportunity to talk about it deeper. And then what's so interesting as well is that like in the after show, because at this dinner, she's like, well, I'm glad you brought it up because now I'm going to write a book, which in the after show, Kyle says that was off-putting because it seemed really opportunistic, which like, yeah, duh, girl, like Amanda used you to even be on the show in the first place. She is an opportunist. But then also on top of that, when you find out that Amanda's book that she's writing, which she reveals on the after show is going to be called Godly as Fuck, Godly AF. She says that the book is going to be about after she's already left the Colt. And so here's the deal, is we're never going to fully know Amanda's Colt story because she hasn't unpacked the trauma and we will never fully know what happened. And maybe we don't need to know, or maybe nothing happened. I'm just saying. I'm a lady. That's my opinion. So they move on from the Colt story because everyone's bored because they're like, Amanda's a terrible storyteller who has no charisma. And so then Erica's like, so what's this rooming situation like? Because, you know, Amanda and Sutton are rooming together. And Amanda goes, well, we listened to Taylor Swift and got ready. And you guys already know that that's going to be a like us point because who isn't listening to Taylor Swift when they get ready? And I do feel like the song that Amanda made Sutton listen to when they got ready, I know it was Shake It Off. I know it was, because the haters gonna hate. I know it was Shake It Off. I know it was. Like, that's just what song it was. And so she does get a like us point, even though everyone laughs at her and all of the women are like, oh God, visceral reactions to them saying that they're listening to Taylor Swift. It's like nothing could have been more millennial. That was the most millennial answer she could have given. It's like, oh, like I wish she would have said Britney Spears. Everyone would have been like, oh, okay, cool. But Taylor Swift, that was her answer. God bless her. Live, laugh, love. And you know what? Sutton probably listens to Taylor Swift because she has a daughter who is, I believe, Gen Z. So you know her daughter probably loves Taylor Swift and Sutton probably has her favorite Taylor Swift songs and they all probably listen to them together. Amanda does get a Like Us point. She sneaks her way into being relatable every single week. It's a new day in Florence, and Amanda gets pulled into a producer meeting. And it's not a real producer meeting, by the way. This is just Kyle and Sutton having a sit down with Amanda, being like, hey, you're handling everything incredibly wrong, and it's boring, and we want to help you. And Amanda is not interested in being helped because she thinks her way is the best way, because she wants to handle this in a way that won't have her lose clients. And they're all clocking that and realizing it. And in this moment, producer Kyle, does end up firing Amanda. It was literally in this scene, Kyle fires Amanda. And if Amanda comes back next season, I'll be very surprised, because I do think Kyle fired Amanda here. Now, Amanda maybe she does a great job at the reunion, which they're filming today. The reunion is filming today, Friday, March the 13th. The reunion seating chart got announced. And we do see that in that seating chart, it's going to be Kyle and Dorit the closest to Andy, and Amanda and Rachel Zoe are going to be the furthest away until the friends of come, which is Jennifer Tilly and Kathy on the end. Now, I think that they just were really giving the OGs on the show some respect by putting Amanda and Rachel Zoe at the end, because we all know that Rachel Zoe could be next to Andy, because we all know that this is going to be Rachel Zoe's franchise imminently. But Kyle fires Amanda at this producer meeting because she says, you can't make a cat a dog, and we're talking in circles. And what they mean is, in this conversation, they were like, Amanda, you need to be true to your emotions and respond emotionally truthful. And Amanda can't be emotionally truthful because she's emotionally sterile. So we end the episode with Rachel getting the news that her husband had broken the news to their youngest son that he had a new girlfriend and forced this on the young son. And Rachel is absolutely pissed. She's so mad. She's on the phone with her sister, which is a big Like Us point, because if you have a sister, you know that when shit hits the fan, you're calling your sister. You're like, I can't believe this happened. And if you can't vent to your sister, baby, what are you doing? So that was the ultimate Like Us, probably the biggest Like Us of the whole episode, is Rachel calling her sister when she's pissed. And Dorit comes in and tries to console Rachel, and they bond a little bit more about their divorcee life and how difficult it is. And then we move on to getting ready for the next episode, which, according to Andy Cohen, on the last episode of Watch What Happens Live, where Jennifer Tilly was the guest, he says that this next episode is when it all falls apart. And I feel like it all fell apart with Kyle and Dorit this whole time, but apparently the big blowout really happens this next episode. So we will see what happens. Now, that's a wrap on this week's episode. Now let's get into the scorecard. So this week, Rachel is our multi-point episode leader. She got 2 Like Us points, which brings her up to 65 points in total. And that just has her knocking on first place, because she is now tied with Erica Jane. So Rachel Zoe, 65, Erica Jane, 65. Up next, we got points from Sutton, Amanda, and Kathy, which brings Sutton, Amanda, and the friends of, because remember, Kathy and Gentile are scored together, all the way up to 40. So we have Dorit with 40, the friends of with 40, and Amanda and Sutton, who also got points this episode, with 40. So the scorecard is looking quite interesting, if I do say so myself. We have a lot of ties. Ties at the top at number 1 with Erica and Rachel with 65 points. Then we have Kyle in second place, Bose in third place, and then a tie for fourth, the friends of Amanda and Sutton. It's a very close match, and it's anybody's game. Now, we will see who ends up being the most relatable housewife of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. You can stay following along to the podcast here at Like Us Pod on Spotify, or you could tune in to my socials where I will update the scorecard every single week. That's at Erin Jones-Wesley. Thanks for following. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. It means so much, and I will chat with you next week.